The trophy race here at Sydney Motorsport Park today over his arch rival, I guess, in Kurt McCready, who we know came from pit lane, heads out on the straight. It's been a great drive from 13th or a long 13th to finish in second spot, and no wonder he carries the number one on the door of that Nissan. Third spot now about to be decided as they head out of the final corner and down the straight, and it's very tight. Henry Price in the slipstream, pulls out at the last minute, not quite close enough. Graham Boehm holds on. Henry Price, Craig Rildridge will finish in position 5. Then it'll be Burks and Price the next two through, followed by Robson, Pearson, Lamore, and the final three, which are all running together at the moment. Here Price comes down to take the checkered flag. Robson next one through. Then it's Burson in the number 90 Ford Escort. And our final three, it might be dicing for 11th, 12th and 13th, but they're making a fist of it as Lamore comes across the line. So this will be an interesting drag to the line. Very different sorts of motor cars through that top part of the track. Heading out onto the straight for the last time. Molesworth, Corey and Murray, in that order, will go down to greet the checkered flag that way. Okay, we'll take a bit of a break. We've got the Sports Sedans back out for their trophy race very shortly.
Kumo Tyres New South Wales Sports Sedans Championship competitors rolling out onto the track for this, their final race of the opening round of season 2021. We've seen some great racing already. Nick Smith, Brad Shields at the front, dicing it out. Paul Beauchet picking up a victory in the last race. Now Inwood sitting in second after we saw Shields with those few dramas. Duggan back up there after the engine drama in race one. Cameron's been having a pretty good run for his first weekend out in the VS Commodore that they've been developing for a little while. Pro behind that. We saw him have a drama in race one as well, Gary, and was not quite there, but has driven himself back into the midfield for this final race.
We had a couple of little dramas as well. 5-second penalties issued. Cameron picked up one of those, and number 44 also. Fred Geiser in the BMW picked up a penalty, as did the Scott Cameron car. Who else was Barry Kelleher was the other one that picked up a 5-second penalty. That's all he needed after his other dramas.
Yeah. Just got a message from down in the lane, the Nick Smith car. They're hoping they've found the wiring gremlin, so that's what took him out in race two. It just had a little wiring problem and lost spark, and unfortunately you cannot continue going when you've had that sort of drama. Chris Jackson also back out there at the very rear of the field as well. You can see on the graphic.
Andrew Lipehead as well. He missed race two. Finished it. Now I'm not sure where he finished in the first race, but he certainly didn't start race two. So we've got a couple of extra starters in this one, and particularly Chris Jackson, we look forward to see how it goes. Brad Shields, we haven't had a chance to catch up with what happened there, but we can only assume that it was a simple problem that they had down at the last time that car raced. Rolling start for these guys, it's always good. Once they get really close and hit the noise, we'll go quiet for a minute just so you can soak it all in as these sports sedans get underway.
We're going to run 4 wide down into turn one. Have a look at them spread across the field. And Nick Smith's been turned. He's got contact very much with the wall, and there's cars spinning through turn one as well. Somebody's backwards in a big cloud of smoke through turn one towards two. So who's that off the field? We've got cars everywhere.
Barry Kelleher, is it, in the Mustang?
Yep, and it looks like there's a red car in the back of the shot there. That's Gessler and Spiteri, I want to say, facing the wrong direction. So it's Spiteri who rotated, so something happened in the very middle of the field, and Nick Smith has made heavy contact with the wall in the front of that car, and there's damage all over the rear of Spiteri's car. He's not going anywhere.
We've got safety car as a result of that, naturally. But how close was it off the start between Brad Shields and Paul Beauchet?
Absolutely huge moment.
Well, there wasn't much room on the inside of that between Beauchet and the wall, and Brad wanted it regardless, and it got him straight to the lead. So a magnificent start, but unfortunately we've now got a situation, and you've got to feel for Nick Smith, after all the dramas they have, to actually have contact off the start when the car they felt was running right. Not too bad. I think it's probably superficial, the damage on that car. Obviously it probably won't run again today, but it certainly didn't help the cause.
No, just stranded down there at the entry to turn one as well, facing the wrong way towards traffic, so they'll have to get out there and get that car with the flatbed. They're sending the flatbed up at the moment to enter the circuit at turns 11 and 12. Brad Shields is our leader across the line, so when that sorted itself out, it was Shields, Beauchet, Inwood and Duggan have popped out the other side. And unfortunately, Nick Smith, they've been working so hard to get on top of that car. They've replaced almost everything in it. Of course, turbo SR20 powered, and a brilliant piece of machinery. Hopefully it's not too much damage to the front of that car. Of course, when you hit a splitter, the front end, of course, will do damage to the bodywork. Hopefully it's better just to park one of these things than to drag anything off it. You'll have bits like oil coolers and lines mounted to the undercarriage areas as well. You can see safety vehicles heading down there at the moment to recover Nick. Thanks to CTFD Group as well for their support of this opening round of the Kumo Tire New South Wales Sports Sedans Championships. Materials coming in the back of the lane as we speak. But huge thanks to them, a great sponsor group on board with New South Wales Sports Sedans. They do a lot of work behind the scenes, the committee, to make sure that everyone's looked after in the category. It's good to see strength. Of course, missing a couple of our strongest cars here this weekend. Hopefully we'll see them back out there. Back round 2 that heads to Wakefield Park at the end of May to be joined by the National Series. That's a huge weekend of racing.
So we like to see a replay of what happened there. Yeah, well, we can only surmise that maybe Spiteri and Smith were the two that had contact, and perhaps Geiser and Kelleher just took avoiding action to make sure they didn't get involved in it, which caused them to spear off at turn 1. It's certainly just one of those freakish things that happen. You don't see. Obviously, Smith would have been the one on a bit of a charge, and someone's jinked the wrong way at the wrong time and caused contact. Fortunately, he didn't slide off at a great rate of knots. It could have been a lot worse than what it was. But Brad Shirl's move to get in front certainly didn't leave anything out there questionable, did it?
No. They were battling hard, weren't they?
Oh.
It was all on.
Yeah.
As we see them come down now. And, oh, Duggan is slow on the back section. So I wonder if Duggan had some contact as well. The front of that car looks like it's not altogether healthy. He's got a flat tyre, doesn't he? Front left looks like it might be a little bit worse for wear. Yeah, it's definitely flat. So I would suggest that there was here's the replay of the start on screen now for people watching on the live stream. We go 4 wide and then watch Nick Smith down the back. He's gone round the outside. Oh, he's lost on his own as he's pulled the next gear, it looks like. Unfortunately for him, that's just a spin on his own. I'm not sure what happened around in turn 2.
Looks like he's got a left rear puncher, so maybe the tyre blew and that's what caused the thing to jink the way it did.
As we come around, you'll see.
This might give us a...
No, that's live pictures.
Unfortunately, we might get a long shot of that on a replay to see what happened to...
Yeah, Nick Smith's definitely got a left rear down by the time he makes it to the wall.
I think it might have gone down. There might have been a tyre blowout.
Yep.
That's what's caused it to go the way it did.
Yep.
And Spiteri may have just not had anywhere to go. And as for what's happened to Duggan, we're not sure. Just a bunch of... I would assume that they would not worry about trying to change the work time. Well, they could do. They won't lose a lap.
They've probably got enough time.
Yep.
To see what happens as the team is scurrying around the car. I mean, it's AMAC Motorsport who looks after it. They've got a lot of experience of making pit stops for GT teams, so I wouldn't question.
I don't know if they'd be geared up for it.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? You're not used to that, but Nick Smith's car getting pulled onto the flatbed. The field is coming around the fish hook, that's a different track, but the hairpin here at Sydney Motorsport Park, and they're sending Duggan again. So obviously they feel like they've got a wheel on it. He's exiting the pit lane.
Well, that's a good quick pit stop, keeps him on the lead lap.
We'll have a chance to drive through once we get back to green flag racing. Chris Jackson made up a few positions off the start. He's leapt about 6 positions up through the field.
So at the moment it's Shields, Bochette, Inwood, Cameron, Pro, Harwood, Jackson, Pillars, Aiken, Lifehead, Smith, Kelleher, Geisler, Duggan. And the rest are basically out of the running. There doesn't look to be any damage for either Geisler or Kelleher, so I assume that they've just gone AWOL to avoid getting involved in it. little bit of time left in this one, which could maybe we'll get some running laps before the 18 minutes expires. And Duggan's car seems to be going okay at the moment. He's just making up time to get back on the back of this lead bunch. So it's been his saving grace, really, hasn't it?
It has helped him out as they pull the car. He's going to need to slow down in turn one, though, because the safety vehicles are driving their way out of it. Duggan came roaring past us here. There's a replay of what happened from the turn two perspective. So it's Gessler and Spiteri who have come together. So something happened in midfield for Gessler and Spiteri to make contact. It's hard to tell because at the same time that was happening, Nick was unfortunately making contact with the wall. And they have touched to cause Spiteri to spin, the Trans Am to go out bush and rejoin halfway to turn two, and the others to have a drama. Gessler to rotate a couple of times and rejoin. So that doesn't explain what happened at Duggan. So obviously everything kicked off all at once, as it so often does in sports sedans. You have 4 or 5 opportunities. Here's a replay again. Let's see as they come down. Yeah, they're just rotating in the back shot, aren't they?
Yeah, they've made contact. So I think at this stage that Smith has just had a puncher, or because he's ended up with a puncher, and speared off on his own. And then the guys at BMW and the Spiteri Evo have made contact, and guys have spun as a result. And then Kessler's just gone off just to avoid, Kelleher's gone off to avoid contact. And for whatever reason, Duggan's picked up a puncher.
Yeah, it didn't look like there was any contact.
Because he was ahead of that group.
Mm-hmm. So he might have, maybe there was contact further around the field while we were waiting to figure out what had happened there.
Well, it may not be for contact. It may have just been a tyre go or debris on the track.
Conjecture on Nick Smith. There's a feeling he may have clipped another car as he came down towards turn one. So we'll have to get some onboards of that post-event and figure out what really happened there.
Certainly a disappointing way to finish the weekend after all the drama where you've mentioned it before. They've had a turbo gasket on a manifold blow race 1. They've had electrical gremlins race 2. And this one, an incident off the start. Okay, we should be fairly close to going back to race conditions. We've got just over 5 minutes of this to go, so we may get 3 laps in. And safety car lights are out, so Brad Shields will control the restart of this race. There's a few fast cars starting to line up behind. Duggan's got onto the back of the group as well. And we will go back to racing. This will complete lap 5, and one would suspect that we'll at least get another 3 laps in as a result. Maybe 2 laps, 3 laps.
I guess it depends on how fast Brad Shields wants to go at the end of this race, doesn't he? You can see Paul Boscher is right up behind him, though. They're all bumping almost nose to tail coming down to the start line. Brad Shields holding them back as late as he can. Glenn Pro has jumped out of the line and tried to make a move, and look at the Trans Am down the inside. I think he might have gone a little earlier than everybody else to have jumped 4 or 5 cars by the flag, and Duggan already making his way through as well.
got past Chris Jackson before the start-finish line. I don't think you're allowed to pass anyone before the start-finish line. And Jackson quickly gets him back before they get to turn 2. And Kelleher's been fairly aggressive there.
He has, hasn't he?
He's trying to make a move on the skyline that's just in front of him.
It's been a pretty big effort to come down the inside like that. We of course saw a jump start like that last year in the Sports Sedans. We had a Division 3 car lead in turn 1 for a couple of moments.
Yeah, no one told him.
Yeah, interesting developments. We see Jackson work his way past Pro, run down to turn 6. He's got Cameron. It's good to see Jackson having a good run. I don't want to off on him, but hopefully he'll be able to.
Oh, he's got past Cameron really quickly.
Big move.
So I wonder if Cameron's got problems there. Cameron comes back at him at turn 8. Maybe he's just caught unawares out of that corner. I'm not sure specifically what happened there, but
I think Jackson went into turn 7 very, very hard around Corporate Hill because he was quite wide on the run down into turn 8. And now he's going to get out after these leading cars. So keep an eye on the white and black Calibra. Next up is Inwood in the Chev.
And in the meantime, it's Brad Shields goes through. He's got a 1.5 second margin over Beauchamp in second spot. Inwood third, Jackson the 4th. Then it should be Cameron and Pro the next 2 through. Harwood about to be eaten up by the Aston Martin of Duggan. And Duggan moves through as well. Then it'll be Kelleher, the next one, Pillars, Aiken, Lifehead, Smith, and guys are at the back in the Bimmer.
So Duggan is charging it. Already Chris Jackson is onto the back of Inwood for 3rd place in this race. So Jackson is going to be looking to make the move very, very shortly around the back section of the circuit. We'll have to see if he can get the run up over 5 and 6 to Inwood. Coming around Corporate Hill now. We'll see what they can get as they emerge back into the sight lines.
Yeah, Shields is not hanging around in case he has dramas like he did earlier.
Jackson's pass down into the hairpin, so around the back of Corporate Hill he managed to pass for 3rd place in the race.
Inwood now back to 4th position ahead of Cameron. Inwood had 2 seconds earlier, so good weekend for the Bathurstian.
Now the question is, last lap board is out, so Jackson will probably not get any further than 3rd place. And we got round Inwood there to be able to take 3rd position. You can see Cameron in behind him in 5th.
Duggan's in 6th.
Through in the 26th, the CSJ engineering car up to 3rd place. Was able to capitalise, I guess, on those early incidents. Now we'll see what happens as he comes around. Turn 2. There's our leader, Brad Shields, on the screen.
3.9 seconds ahead at this stage, and comfortably, you might say, at this point.
I think they've rectified whatever is in the car to be able to open up a gap like that quite comfortably, especially when Paul Beauchamp was able to beat him in the last race. He has not been able to stay with him in just the 4 short laps that we've had of this one since going back from yellow.
So Shields comes down to turn 8 for the last time, swings the turbo rotary powered Fiat through that corner, out the other side, and Jackson certainly made some inroads in. He's done fastest PB to Sector 1, so it's been a good workout for the Calibra driver, and his fastest lap is quicker than Beauchamp by about 0.7 of a second. He's down the checkered flag, and it's Brad Shields that takes the win. Joe Sed's Fiat Rotary Turbo. Second spot will go to Paul Beauchamp in a Dodge-powered Corvette. And 3rd goes to Chris Jackson in the Chev-powered Calibra.
Inwood's just going to hold off Scott Cameron to the line in the battle for that position, 4th place on the road. And Duggan all the way back to 6th. A good drive from him in the end. And then just look at this on screen as well. We've got the two Commodores side by side behind Gessler. They're sliding through the final complex. And it looks like the Pillars has been able to stay in front of Smith.
We'll wrap up position 9 headed behind Prow and Harwood in their Skylines. And this is the final battle home for Division 3 cars, guys. So in ahead of Pillars and Smith. And following across the line will be Dave Aiken, the man who supplies the Kermo tyre that keeps this series alive. We'll take a break and we'll be back with the final race for the weekend for Formula Race cars.
Not forgetting a huge thanks to CTFD for their support of this round for the Kermo Tyres New South Wales Sports Sedans Championship as the result board runs through on screen there. We'll be back in a moment after this short break.
Do you have a special car, a caravan, boat or RV, but no safe space to store it at home? Let Melbourne Car Kennel securely store it for you. Conveniently located at Moorabbin Airport, with easy access to major roadways, Melbourne Car Kennel offers secure indoor and outdoor storage for anything on wheels. With 4K CCTV, monitored alarms and regular security patrols, Melbourne Car Kennel cares for your wheeled assets as if they are our own. Call Melbourne Car Kennel now and talk to Brad to organise your flexible vehicle storage solution. Discounts available for viewers who mention this advert from the Victorian State Racing Series broadcast. You can find Melbourne Car Kennel on Facebook, Instagram and online at melbournecarkennel.com. Melbourne Car Kennel, proudly supporting Blendline TV and the Victorian State Racing Series.
Facebook isn't the only place that you can support Australian grassroots motorsport with Blendline TV. To see more real race cars, more live events and more of the racing you love, subscribe to the Blendline TV YouTube channel, sign up to our mailing list or bookmark and subscribe to our website at blendline.tv. Thanks for continuing to support grassroots motorsport with Blendline TV.
Okay, we're back for the third and final race, the trophy race for Formula Race cars. Lawrence Casillas back in the co-driver's seat for this one, and with all the tales of woe and anything that's happened in the last race, I see there's a couple of penalties dished out as well.
Yeah, there's a little bit going on, Gary. Shane Morrow got pinned for, it was a safety car infringement, and he didn't see the black flag, subsequently got issued with a fairly hefty fine, so he'll be keeping an eye out for the flags next time.
So we're eating on Motorsport Australia tonight, are we?
Well, we won't be, but Timmy Boydell was a bit of a kerfuffle for him for the whole race. He ended up beaching it, and they just towed him away. And
They couldn't get him restarted.
No. Noel McDermott got pinged for a start line infringement, which,
Yeah, we noticed that one.
yep, handed the victory to Greg Muddle. As they line up here, we've got Greg Muddle on pole position, Graham Holmes next to him, Noel McDermott, and Barry in the big dog Formula Holden.
Big dog.
It is a big dog.
It's a big car compared to a Formula 3 car, is it
Yeah,
not?
it's pretty scary.
Then we've got the first of the Formula 4 cars in Koch on position 5, Rowe next to him. It's been a good fight back from stalling on the grid at the start of the second race.
Indeed.
The second of the Koch cars on the next row, and of course
Glenn Lynch, the perennial competitor. Rodney Baker, Ronnie Coath, and the usual suspects.
Right, we've got 5-second borders being shown. We get red lights. We're just about set to go, and away they go. Great start from Barry. Made a brilliant start. Also, the 99 has made a good start as well. That's Adam Gotch in the McGull Formula 4 car, and it's Barry that's gone through to the lead. In the meantime, Rob Coath is stalled on the grid but got going.
Good news for him as Graham Holmes is going to make a lunge. No, he's not. Fairly close. So that big Holden's going to be difficult to get around now. So
It's all those hill climb starts. See, that's what's made the difference.
Yeah, it's throwing the cat amongst the pigeons, that's for sure. So you just never know what's going to happen in this race.
So they come up over the tunnel the first time, and around they go. Barry from Holmes from Muddle started pole, back to fourth, Gotch in fifth. Dennis McDermott, I guess a more cautious start from him after suffering that 5-second penalty earlier in the day.
Not only that, they had to change the seating position because there was a safety issue with his roll hood. So they've had to change the seating position. I don't think he's entirely used to the way the car's set up now, so it'll take a bit of getting used to, but I expect he'll get on top of that sooner rather than later.
So his helmet's got to be below that hoop.
Of course.
Yep, so lowering the seat, I would imagine, in that case.
Graham Holmes has just made a terrific move on Doug Barry, and he's taken the lead. Greg Muddle's hot on the heels of Doug Barry as well.
So it appears at this stage that the S3 cars have got a little bit more straight line performance than Formula Holden.
Well, Doug was saying he's not getting full fuel pressure, so the thing's not running at 100%. As we've seen Noel McDermott make a move on Adam Gotch on the inside, gets the job done. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Very good.
It was a no-brainer that I think that the S3 car would have finally get past the F4, the fast ones at least.
Yep, Rob Rowe makes the move stick on Adam Gotch. And set off after Noel McDermott now. Rob Rowe, an ex-Formula 4 guy, as is Noel McDermott, relatively new to Formula cars, but has taken to it like a duck.
So they make their way around the back of the circuit for the second time. Holmes leads. Barry in second. Muddle will undoubtedly at some stage probably get past. Can he do anything about getting Graham Holmes in front?
Oh, you never know. It looks like Graham's cleared off for the moment. It's a fair gap. It's a fair few seconds.
And McDermott looking for a way past Muddle for P3. Rowe, the next one through. Then we should have both the Koch cars, or no, someone else has slipped in between them.
Yep, and Rodney Baker's got that car running properly now, which is good. Good for them, I'm glad. So coming onto the main straight. Different to what I'm seeing on screen. But Graham Holmes has got a fair old lead. Looks like McDermott's going to make a move on Muddle sooner rather than later. Can he hold him out? For now, yes. But what's going to happen at turn 2, we'll have to wait and see.
So Baker's actually picked up a couple of spots there. Lynch in 9.
Oh, McDermott out on the rough stuff at turn 1. That's pretty gutsy.
Trying to get past and improve his position. So far, we haven't seen any penalties, which is good news for their trophy event for the weekend.
That's right, we're running for the David June Memorial Cup this weekend. We've got your trophy that we hand out with our first.
And very much part of the race car family.
Involved in our category.
Holmes has actually set the fastest lap at the moment of 1:31.54.
Too bad. We've got McDermott all over the back of Greg Muddle.
Still can't find his way past, but as you said, being uncomfortably seated now in the car, well, until he gets used to it, might have just upset his rhythm enough to bring him back to the field a bit.
Well, just looking at him now, looks like he's settled in okay, and he's on top of it.
Now moves out of the slipstream, but
they're going to go side by side,
and doesn't get the job done. No, and actually watching it, Lawrence, through down the straight here, he does make up ground, but as soon as he pulled out of the slipstream,
wow.
And now he gets the job done. But when he pulled out on the straight, it was like he walked into a wall.
Yeah.
It just didn't want to go forward anymore, did it?
No.
He had to do it under brakes in the end at turn 2.
So Greg Muddle and Noel McDermott fairly evenly matched this weekend. They've been going punch for punch. So it'll be interesting to see what happens from here.
Holmes's terminal speed, and the speed check was the highest of anyone, 217 kilometres an hour, 215 or 16 for the two we were just talking about. So he's got about a K on him at the moment, which isn't anything, is it?
No. Well, you'd rather have it than not.
True.
So I just wonder, I've got a bit of an issue for Royal. He must have had an off, but he's going now.
That's Rowe, of course. It was in position 5.
Just wonder how they're going to fare when they come up to the back of Doug in that big Formula Holden.
He'd be cutting a bit more air for him.
You think so?
This will be an interesting determination of that, because McDermott is on the back of Barry coming down the straight. Possibly not quite close enough on this occasion to get any advantage out of it. And just looking at their terminal speed down the straight, Barry 2:11, 2:09 for McDermott. So not a great deal in it. 2:19 from our race leader, so he has got speed on the others.
I think he took a bit of wing off, and Greg Muddle's clocked at 220 k's, so that thing's fairly slippery in a straight line.
Being the older Aeros.
Yep, they're quick in a straight line, that's for sure.
Another move happening down the straight as we speak.
Timmy Boydle on Robbie Sviderskas.
Not quite.
Doesn't get the job done.
Again, they just seem to pull out of that slipstream and just run into that wall of air that stops them from going on with the job.
Indeed, that's the slipstream effect, but he gets the job done down at turn 2. So Timmy Boydle's in front of Robbie Sviderskas now as I just watch where Graham is. That lead that he's got is fairly steady. In fact, it may have increased a little bit. It's almost 4 seconds now.
McDermott right on the back of Barry now, so we'll get a better view of how close or when he can get past. I suspect turn 2 under brakes will be the go.
I don't know. It's hard to pick. There's some laps Formula Holden's quick down the straight, and others it depends on where he's changing gears, because he's trying different things to.
And
yep, there you go.
He goes past. And interesting, I also noted too that the Formula V's went all over to the wall down here to get out of the wind, but you guys aren't doing that at all.
No, well, it's a headwind now for these guys, a bit of a crosswind headwind, mainly headwind, so it's just pushing the cars down on the track. because of the front wing, so the aero is actually good for us. It holds us up heading down the chute in a straight line, but we can just hold it flat for turn one.
Well, okay. Makes sense.
Yep.
Whereas the little Formula Bs will get bumped around, nobody's business. If
Trying
they
to
get
get
out
out
in
of
it. Yep. So Holmes leads 3.76 seconds over McDermott, Barry Bird, Dennis Muddle, Adam Gotch, Ron Baker, Nathan Gotch, then Lynch, Rob Rowe, who we've seen have a moment or two, Tim Boydle in position 11.
Oh no, McDermott's thrown it away, he's beached it. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to work out where that is.
Is that, yeah, I'm just trying to work that one out as well. Turn 6 perhaps.
Turn 6, right, okay, right where we turn 6.
Yep.
Yeah.
Backs it off, so he's got out of there.
Okay, so maybe avoided a safety car, can he get it started?
Yep, he's fine.
Okay, good job. Well done. Oh, that's a shame. So that leaves Graham Holmes out in front, Doug Barry, Greg Muddle, that's the top 3. And he is 6 seconds clear now, Doug.
So overall, would it be Muddle?
No, this is the trophy race, so...
You get points out for your other 2 races as well.
We do. So Greg would have accumulated the most points, I would say. Mind you, it's Graham Holmes looking like having a victory. Noel McDermott had a victory and Greg Muddle, so we've had 3
different race winners.
3 different race winners, and I'll leave that to Greg because he does all the points.
I'd be careful with that if he's in contention.
Not making any predictions.
I love that sort of stuff.
Yeah, all said with an asterisk and a caveat of who knows.
What it does is put Doug Barry back in the 2nd position, and as we've said before, each race he's come out this weekend as his best placing in the category, and again he looks like he might go one better again and finish with a 2nd, and it'll make missing the 3rd round of the New South Wales Hill Climb Championships worthwhile if he does pick up a 2nd in this one.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure he likes this. Likes doing this more than hill climbs, a little bit more involved, but you have to ask him to be sure, but I know how I'd be feeling about it. So I just wonder if Greg's, what have we got left? 5 minutes. I'm just looking at the time difference. There's a fair old gap, isn't there? 4 seconds. Maybe Greg can make up the ground, because once he gets the eyes on, he's a bit of a demon, but meanwhile,
at the moment, Greg's lap times are around about 4/10 of a second slower than Doug's, so one would say that Doug pretty well could consolidate this position. And what it does do, I think, in some ways, we've got the early Formula Holdens that were before the monocoque chassis. Might entice, there's a few of them around here because they race the historic meetings, might entice a couple of them to come out and run, or certainly the latest chassis cars might come out and run the race cars, which would be good to see.
Yeah, there's certainly a bit of interest there, and with Blendline's help, we're getting out there and reaching more people, so I'm fairly optimistic that we'll end up with a few more different varied cars on our grid before long. Meanwhile, Holmesy crosses the line, out in front. I don't want to say unassailable.
8.5 seconds is pretty strong.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And his last lap was 1:32.0, 1:32.6 for Barry, and a 1:32.1 for Muddle. So he's actually picked up half a second on that lap, and he's right over on the yellow line, isn't he? And then there's some.
Greg was on the grass on the main straight. Well, I don't know what he was doing, but probably looking at his dash, but that's okay. Eyes forward, Greg.
I don't think he'll hear you right at the moment, unless he's watching the live stream.
No, I'll be asking him when he gets out.
So we're down to 3.5 minutes of this race to go, so we suspect
a couple of laps.
At least a couple of laps see the third winner in this series. McDermott back up to 8th spot now.
It's a good recovery.
32.0 on that lap, so he's actually faster than the race leaders. Not by much, but just enough.
Well, that's not surprising. He's been
the pace setter.
Yeah, he's been fairly red hot all weekend. We've got Greg Muddle on screen trying to chase down Doug Barry. We had all three leaders there in the one shot, but they're fairly spaced out on the track, that is. Holmesy crosses the line.
Graham Holmes' history in open wheelers must date back to almost when Adam was a boy. He seems to have been around a long time.
I don't know what to say to that, but yes, he's done a few laps. And I hope for your sake he doesn't hear you say that.
Oh, you'll see it later.
Yeah, but for a guy, he's he's got a few years, a few Ks on the clock, but he's, as you can see, he's quicker than everyone today. On the race that matters, and it looks like Graham's going to take home the David Tune Memorial Cup that he held. He won the inaugural Cup and took it home with him to Deniliquin, and it looks like it'll be a happy addition to his equipment.
So that's a perpetual trophy plus a keep trophy as well?
No, it's just perpetual.
Just perpetual.
He'll get the motor race championships for the AGI Formula Race Cars round. So he'll get the chocolates for that and get to keep David's trophy.
So the David Tune Memorial Trophy will be on familiar turf when it gets for the next 12 months.
Well, frankly, it's never really sat on anyone else's mantle. So well done, Graham, as he rounds the final corner.
Checkered flag is out for Graham Holmes, who will take
Graham.
the third and final race
Yes,
for the race
Graham.
cars this weekend.
Yes, good job. I did pick him just quietly.
Now you tell me.
No, I did.
Doug Barry will be second in the Formula Holden.
That's outstanding,
I
Doug.
think he's pretty happy. He's got his arm in the air.
Yeah, well done to all.
And Greg Muddle, who can now work the point score to make sure that he wins the round.
I dare say he'll end up on top of the championship.
And fourth place then should be to Ron Bacon. That's been a great run for
That's
him.
a great fight back for him. So they got that car sorted. Adam Gotch in the AGI car in the top 5. So well done.
Ben Lynch should be the next one to Greg. No, it's Nathan Gotch.
Glenn Lynch.
Lynch
well
has
done.
had a drama on that last lap. It's dropped him a spot. And Noel Dermott, after a cautious start, unfortunately, his hard charge came to an end with a spin at turn 6, but at least comes out of the race with P8. Rob Ray, the next one through, and rounding out our 10 should be Shane Morrow.
Here he comes. He's got Ronnie Coates on his... it's Tim Boydell on his tail. They're fighting right to the very last metre, and Ronnie Coates made a great recovery to catch up with the guys. And Phil Morrow's parked it earlier on as Rob Swiderskis went on Robbie to cross the line and round out the field.
Well, thanks, Cyrus. It's good to have you here with a bit of knowledge about Formula Race cars. We look forward to hearing or seeing you, one of the two, at the next round.
Hopefully you'll be watching. I'll be on the other side of the fence for round 3 of the AGI Formula Race Cars Championship. And, we're back here, actually, at the end of July. And I look forward to catching up with you then, Gary.
Good. Bring your winter woolies because we will be right in the middle of the winter season. We'll be taking a short break. We'll be back with the next event soon.
have a special car, a caravan, boat or RV, but no safe space to store it at home? Let Melbourne Car Kennel securely store it for you. Conveniently located at Moorabbin Airport with easy access to major roadways, Melbourne Car Kennel offers secure indoor and outdoor storage for anything on wheels. With 4K CCTV, monitored alarms and regular security patrols, Melbourne Car Kennel cares for your wheeled assets as if they are our own. Call Melbourne Car Kennel now and talk to Brad to organise your flexible vehicle storage solution. Discounts available for viewers who mention this advert from the Victorian State Racing Series broadcast. You can find Melbourne Car Kennel on Facebook, Instagram and online at melbournecarkennel.com. Melbourne Car Kennel, proudly supporting Blendline TV and the Victorian State Racing Series.
Facebook isn't the only place that you can support Australian grassroots motorsport with Blendline TV. To see more real race cars, more live events and more of the racing you love, subscribe to the Blendline TV YouTube channel, sign up to our mailing list or bookmark and subscribe to our website at blendline.tv. Thanks for continuing to support grassroots motorsport with Blendline TV.
Yeah, Lockie Cook in that first race ended up coming straight back into the pits. He had an electrical problem that he was still chasing from yesterday, but he reckons he might have it sorted, so fingers crossed he gets a couple of laps in at least. Because when he's out there he loves mixing it up in the mid-pack for sure.
Would have been good to see Alex Cook here, his brother, however apparently up in the snow this weekend.
Oh, we've already got Lockie Cook going slow by the looks of it actually. I'm guessing that he's still got that same electrical gremlin that he's been having for the whole weekend. So he's creeping around the back of the top or the top of the circuit at the moment. So I don't know whether this will delay the start or not.
You did mention it was the 5th ECU that he was on this weekend. So.
Yeah. Well, they're all gridding up, so we'll just wait and see whether they wait and hold them or...
Slowly making his way around the back there.
Oh, they're going to go?
Yep. Five seconds.
5 second board, yep. Oh, so DevJack got a really good start there. I think he was really keen to nail the start this time.
Yep, quite a few changing positions into turn one.
Those sitting out wide, you can see the dust kicking up from the previous race where there was a bit of an oil spill.
Aidan Riley making his way up there.
Great start for Aidan. He's been tagged turn 2. Justin Barnes, so Aidan Riley and Justin Barnes are off at turn 2. They're going to make it back onto the track though. So as they come down through turn 4, you've got Steve DevJack, Ryan Gordon, and it looks like Terry Lewis has made it up into 3rd, just in front of Liddell.
Steve's got a big gap now. Such an early start in the race.
Got Shannon McLean coming in 5th. Looks like he's got his car sorted. He's been through a few gearboxes over the last couple of races, so it looks as though they've finally got that sorted.
Looks like Justin Barnes coming in and Aidan Riley staying out.
So as they come down into the hairpin, Ryan's starting to close that gap a little bit. You've then got 5th place, Shannon McLean, 6th, Dylan O'Keefe, 7th, you've got Tom Shaw moving up in front of Noakes. Hopefully not too much damage on Aiden's car. Aiden Riley as he comes around just through the middle of the circuit. We'll see if he continues on.
Liddell up on Lewis.
So Terry in the first race today had some exhaust issues. Not sure if it was a broken mount or ripped a hole in the exhaust, but he was fixing that between the races. He seems to have found a little bit of pace though, for sure. And talking to Shannon McLean between races as well, he was talking about how he genuinely feels he's got the pace to be sitting up towards the 4th place today. So it'd be good to see if he can push up close to Terry and try and maybe catch Liddell, because Liddell's now gone past Terry Lewis. And we've got Jake Lauer going past Noakes. Down through turn 4 and 5. Which is a good thing. Steve Demkow set the fastest lap so far this race. And you can see 3rd, 4th and 5th are all sort of getting up close now. Actually, the mid-pack's all very close. Sort of towards the back there. She's come from drag racing and said that she's having a great run down here, but I think she drag races a Mazda RX8 or something as well. So the mid-pack at the moment is all condensed, it's all pretty close. Everyone's sort of just trying to steer clear of that line on the right-hand side where all the dust and oil was. Straight.
Samuel's the best room there amongst it all. Just behind Noakes.
Yeah, Sam had an issue yesterday, which they fixed today, which was wasn't opening up one of the one of the valves that'll give you the top end on the engine. What's that called, Denny? Yeah. But anyway, he couldn't get top end speed yesterday, and they fixed that today. So he reckons that he's got a bit of pace, which is a good thing. Sam, you've got Sam Silvestro and you've got Canellis right behind him. They had to switch a gearbox yesterday afternoon. Actually, they've got Jake Lauer's old gearbox in their car at the moment. So I think Jake Lauer's gearbox has been passed around a few cars over the last few race meets, which is probably a good sign about RX8 Cup. Everyone shares parts. You can't go to a race where somebody's not actually lending a part to somebody. Everyone dives in and helps each other out. So
also after a part of was Brian Lacey. I think a stock of all RX8 in Australia.
Oh, you can see Aiden Riley's making his way back through. He's now past Maisie Place. He made some setup changes to his car actually, so it's good to see he's picking up a little bit of. Hopefully, he's doing it. The car's feeling a little bit more settled than it did the last race. His times look pretty good, so he made some big setup change. The car, a lot of people talking about oversteer. Here you've got Tom Shaw closing up on Dylan O'Keefe down towards turn 2. Tom raced in the Bathurst 6 Hour only last week, so he'll be bringing a lot more confidence and skill into the RX8 Cup. He's really had a big change in pace this year.
Exactly. I remember a couple of years ago racing against Tom, and he really from the lead.
Yeah, he's certainly carrying really good pace this season. Canellis just trying to make a move on Sam Silvestro. Looks like he's rounded him up through turn 5. Steve Devjack really has sort of started to stretch his legs in front of Ryan Gordon. Yeah, talking to Steve, and how close I remember qualifying yesterday, Steve got out of the car thinking that he'd actually got pole, and then found out that Ryan had got him by 2.5 tenths, and I was shocked because he thought he'd probably set the lap record, and that just goes to show how close they are at the front, and it's good to see that sort of close racing at the front, because I mean, Steve came into this round leading the championship with Ryan on second, so every point matters between these guys.
Every time these RX8s come to a track again, they just pick up more and more time where they find it.
Yeah, I think we're setting lap records nearly every time. We've got Jake Lowers looking good down there. He's catching right up to the back of Tom Shaw. Always interesting with it. Squirming under brakes there for Tom. But it's always interesting coming into turn 2, whether you take the shallow or the high line, depending on whether you're the leading car or the following car. Steve Devjack's the first one looking into the 49s on this race. Ryan Gordon's about 4 tenths behind him on a 50.1. So again, fast times, but probably about a second off the pace from race 1 today. But I think that wind and the heat's probably not helping much out there at the moment. We know these cars don't like a lot of heat. They start to lose a bit of pace there. About 6.5 minutes to go. We've still got Steve Devjack in first, Ryan Gordon in second,
Big gap there to Liddell
in third. From fourth back to about 7th or 8th is pretty close between Terry, McLean, O'Keefe, Shaw and Lauer. Then you've got Noakes, Canellis, Silvestro, between races. She was talking about she was very happy with her pace in the last race. Again, the category promotes helping each other out. Certainly, a couple of the front runners have given Maisie some tips, a couple of tools just to try and find a little bit of extra pace and confidence, and she said she implemented those and was really happy she picked up 3 seconds in the race compared to her previous race. So she was stoked, and she's driving well out there. I guess we're down to 15 on the track now, with Justin Barnes is definitely in the pits, and looks like he'll be hopefully be able to get the car back and running for race 4 this afternoon. Certainly the battle pack's been a bit closer than that over the weekend, so the times are still really close, all still within a couple of tenths in the front top 3. But the mid-pack's really sort of battling it out really well in this race, and it's been really nice to see really close competitive racing in the RX8 Cup Series this round. Really no rubbing. it's been really respectful racing, and each of the guys have just, I think everyone really respects the time and effort each puts into their car, and while they're out there on the track, they're really sort of respecting it. It takes a lot of time to put these together, these cars, and everyone's looking after them and looking after each other.
Tighter track.
It's a great track up there. A lot of people who like Wakefield, like Morgan Park. Remember we had our first race up there. Battle with Terry Lewis in the wet. And that was our first race in RX8 Cup in the wet, testing out the new kit. Yeah, that was a lot of fun and a lot of learning for a lot of people.
Obviously, different driving style from Nick Kings in the wet.
100%. Yeah, certainly between 4th through to 8th is only 3 seconds splitting them. So, last lap board is out. So it looks as though last lap we've got still Devjack, Gordon and Liddell sitting in 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Unless something changes. Yeah. Tom Shaw's still pushing hard. He's going to try and make a move here on the outside of, is that O'Keefe? Yes. Jake Lauer sticking his nose in there too, so that's a really good battle. Shannon McLean just in front of them holding them. Well, certainly not holding them up. They're all pushing, trying to get past each other, that's for sure. Leaders going up through turn 6 and 7 as we speak. Down the inside of Dylan O'Keefe, who was around the back of Corporate. So as the leaders come around the top end of the circuit, we've got the mid-pack still battling for 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. And as we come down, we've got Steve Devjack's going to take the win of race 3 with Ryan Gordon 2nd. Marcus Liddell comes in 3rd, and they're still battling as they come onto the straight. Terry Lewis in 4th, Shannon McLean 5th, O'Keefe, Shaw, Lauer, Noakes. A good comeback by Aidan Riley, who's going to come in 13th. Canellis comes across 10th. Sam Silvestro 11th. And another clean race, except for obviously turn 2. We're not sure really sort of how all that came together, but I mean, first lap's always going to get a little bit congested down there, certainly here.
And hopefully Justin's back for the next race.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see Justin back out for race 4 today. Thank you very much. We'll see. Thanks to the Oxsafe. Thank you.
It looked like McDonald actually got the initial bite, initial jump, but then faulted on the gear change, and I think this was.
Do you have a special car, a caravan, boat or RV, but no safe space to store it at home? Let Melbourne Car Kennel securely store it for you. Conveniently located at Moorabbin Airport with easy access to major roadways, Melbourne Car Kennel offers secure indoor and outdoor storage for anything on wheels. With 4K CCTV, monitored alarms and regular security patrols, Melbourne Car Kennel cares for your wheeled assets as if they are our own. Call Melbourne Car Kennel now and talk to Brad to organise your flexible vehicle storage solution. Discounts available for viewers who mention this advert from the Victorian State Racing Series broadcast. You can find Melbourne Car Kennel on Facebook, Instagram and online at melbournecarkennel.com. Melbourne Car Kennel, proudly supporting Blendline TV and the Victorian State Racing Series.
Facebook isn't the only place that you can support Australian grassroots motorsport with Blendline TV. To see more real race cars, more live events and more of the racing you love, subscribe to the Blendline TV YouTube channel, sign up to our mailing list or bookmark and subscribe to our website at blendline.tv. thanks for continuing to support grassroots motorsport with Blendline TV.
RX8 Cup Series competitors proudly brought to you by oxsafeaustralia.com.au here at Sydney Motorsport Park for round 2 of the 2021 championship season. We saw Steve Deviak take a very comfortable victory by RX8 Cup standards in race 3 of the weekend. Now the final one. The sun's setting here at Sydney Motorsport Park. It'll put some dramas for the drivers down through turn 1 and around the back of Corporate Hill as the sun glare in the eyes definitely sort out the field yet again. We're going to hand it over to commentators from the category to give you an insight. We've got Scott O'Hara and Daniel Cash here in commentary box ready to take it over.
Thanks, Daniel. Good to be back. The last race was an interesting one with one or two DNFs, Lachlan Cook again with electrical gremlins, and then of course we had a coming together between Justin Barnes which resulted in a busted oil cooler, so we'll just see how that's affected his engine or how he runs for the remainder of the series. We also had Aidan Riley with some panel damage down the side from that coming together as well, so both competitors have got their cars prepped and are back out there. And I'm sure that they'll both be trying to move through the field as quickly as possible.
Probably timely now to have a big shout out to Rick Shaw for actually getting everything organised as he always does and puts on an excellent weekend.
Yes, Rick puts on for those people watching the race for the first time, RX8 Cup's a single make series with some control components, MCA coilovers, a control exhaust, control air intake, wheels and tyres, and pretty much everything else is stock standard. So it's a great category. It's grown from strength to strength, and without Rick's time and effort into the series, we certainly wouldn't be having such strong grids each race meet.
It certainly has a lot of passion for it.
100%. Just a side note on Ryan Gorton, just chatting to him between the last two races. He did have a bit of a top end issue in terms of power, so he's made a little adjustment to his setup, changing a solenoid, so it'll be interesting to see if he's got a little bit more pace, and I think it'll all be in the start for the front 2 to 4 guys. So as we line up waiting for the final few cars to grid up, Justin Barnes is right at the back, lined up alongside Maisie Place. We've got a green flag.
5-second board.
Well, it's another even start from Deviak and Ryan Gorton.
Gorton just got the jump then in a major way.
As they come down into turn 1, Ryan has taken the lead, and Liddell has come around the outside of Deviak. A great start from O'Keefe as well. He's moved right up into 5th place, challenging Terry Lewis into turn 2.
And again, Shannon McLean in amongst it.
Shannon McLean's actually pulling some really in close. He's got a strong car again. He feels he can be sitting up the front.
Deviak now back on the tail end of Gorton yet again.
McLean's had a moment over the back. He's come off over at turn 5 by the looks of it. Got Aidan Riley. And I think it might be Alder as well. Front 4 again, as we've seen across the weekend, end up being Ryan Gorton. We've got Steve Devjack, Liddell and Terry Lewis.
Jake Lau having a bit better success this race.
Looks like everyone's finally coming around. Aidan Riley ended up needing a fair bit of wheel aligning after the last race, so he might be still a little bit taily or a little bit not straight. Be interesting just to see whether that was just as a result of turn 5. Already we've got Devjack challenging Ryan down the straight.
That looks to have worked.
Ryan was a little bit squealy under brakes there, going into turn 1. And again, you could see the top end difference. So I'm wondering whether Ryan's still suffering from that same difference. Well, it looks like Steve Devjack's got a 5-second penalty, so I can only guess that might be for a jump start potentially.
Justin Barnes too is actually moving his way up rather rapidly through the pack from starting at the rear.
Oh, there must be some oil out on the track.
Everybody is.
Yep, got oil over the back. Certainly had the front 3 over back of Corporate Hill. By looks of it, turn 5. Looks as though Steve Devjack might be off the track over the back. He's not quite moving yet. And as we come around, we've got Liddell in front and Ryan Gorton sitting in second. Definitely some oil over the back of the track. Steve Devjack appears to be in the wall. I would imagine we will see a safety car come out.
It's quite unfortunate for him having such an excellent weekend.
Oh, he's had a great run. I can see Sam Silvestro's in the pit, so I don't know if that's got something to do with it or whether this was in relation to that last turn 5 incident. I would suggest that on the previous lap someone might have dropped some oil. Safety car is out, so that'll bring the group back together. And with about 12 minutes left in the race, good opportunity to thank again our major sponsor, Oxsafe Australia. Oxsafe is actually a training company up in Queensland. Primarily they work around asbestos and other training services. So thank you for being on board. So that leaves us with 13 runners on the track by looks of it.
Jake Lau's managed to pick himself up a 3rd position so far, so he's done exceptionally well to get up there from where he's been today.
So as the field's going around, they're all going around past Steve Devjack at the moment. It was quite obvious that there was something on the track about the first 3 cars as they went through started to just lose their tail ends, and unfortunately Steve's ended up over against the wall, so hopefully he's okay. Imagine he is, but not a great way to finish the weekend for sure. You can also see at the moment Justin Barnes. So that Justin Barnes has moved through to P8, so that's a pretty good start from the rear of the grid. And Tom Shaw still having a pretty solid finish in 6th, or sitting in 6th at the moment.
It's interesting to see what's happened to Shannon over there too. He was sort of stopped and stalled over there. think he's got back on as yet.
So Shannon McLean is... Oh yeah, he's sitting down below Silvestro, yeah, correct. I think the only thing you can do is predict that maybe when they was coming together over there a bit earlier, that somebody's ruptured an oil line of some description. Another opportunity between the two races where you could go down into the pits, have a good look at the cars. You could see everybody helping each other out to get their cars fixed. It wasn't just left to each driver's own device to fix their own cars. Everyone chips in, gives each other a bit of a hand, lends tools, lends wheel alignment bars, whatever you need. Each person in the category is willing to jump in and help out.
There's quite a few other competitors down there helping Barnesy get back on the track.
Yep.
Everybody willing to put in.
So the recovery vehicles around there now, it looks as though they're about to try and get him loaded up onto a flatbed. I guess looks like it might take a little bit of time.
Obviously 2 trucks out on the track there, so obviously one for Devjak and the other one presumably for Shannon McLean.
Shannon McLean, yeah. The McLean Motorsport car, Shannon McLean Motorsport car, you have to admit is one of the best prepped cars out there. They all come up certainly looking good, but today it's come away with a couple of battle scars. I think he had a slight touch with Tom Shaw into turn 1 in the last race, which was a bit unfortunate, but it looks as though something's happened over there for those two to be out now.
Shannon's car's always well prepared by his father, Steve.
Yep.
Right from the concept of RX8 Cup, his father's presented when he raced one of arguably the best maintained and presented cars in the field.
Yeah, certainly. We have an award at each presentation evening. We have a presentation evening at the end of each year, and I know that Steve certainly won that best presented car and best prep car, so it's always well looked after.
Waiting to find out what's actually going on over the back there.
I've got to also probably put a bit of an apology out in the last commentary in the last race. I did keep referring to Andrew O'Keefe as Dylan O'Keefe, both great drivers. And I said to Andrew that I'd chuck that apology out there. So sorry, Andrew, when you do get to listen to this.
I'm sure all is forgiven.
He was very gracious when I went and saw him about my apology.
He'd probably have never known if you hadn't mentioned it.
I think he would have known. So if we're lucky to get back underway, it will be likely that we will only get another lap or two.
It's unfortunate the way the day has been, considering it's been an excellent weekend for RX8 Cup racing.
So I guess as we have a look at the field as they roll through, we've still got Marcus Liddell in front, Ryan Gorton sitting in second, Jake Lauer third, O'Keefe sitting fourth, Noakes fifth, Shaw sixth, Terry Lewis sitting in seventh, Older sitting in ninth, Barnes sitting in eighth, Bullion's in 10th, Place in 11th, Riley in 12th, and Canellis in 13th. So across the field, we've got a broad range of experience from newcomers, and one of the man leading the field at the moment, Liddell, he's come from, I think, 10 to 15 years ago, from what I understand. He was racing in the Dunlop series in what we'd call a Super 2 car now, I think. So he comes with a wealth of experience. I know he's certainly been trying to help a couple of the other drivers out, giving some tips and techniques. But he's obviously fast, and he knows this track really, really well. So there's no mistake why he's sort of sitting up the front by any stretch. But it's good to see that he's there. He's been having a strong couple of race meets this year already. He's sitting in a Silvestro-built car, so it's obviously holding its own out there for sure.
It's a bit with RX8 Cup Race. Just coming in every year, new cars being built. Rick last post I read on Facebook is actually building another car for another competitor. It's now available for sale. He's up to number 13 car he's personally built.
Yeah, and I just got a message from Steve McLean, Shannon's dad. Yeah, basically what he said is that it looks as though Shannon and Terry Lewis might have come together. And the oil cooler, by looks of it, on Shannon's car has ended up expiring, and it looks as though the engine might be no longer operational. So, which is a real shame, because Shannon certainly can steer out there, and it's an unfortunate way to finish any race meet with an engine expiring. And I'd say that was a result of that turn 5 stuff that happened on lap 1. With 3 minutes, I'm guessing that it's going to be unlikely. We may end up finishing under safety car by looks of it. They've got Liddell's car, Dev Jack's car on the back of a flatbed now, seem to be moving him, so we might be lucky to get one flying lap, depending on what the clerk of the course decides. It's good to see Jake Lauer up the front. He was a solid runner last year, and he's currently sitting in one of Brian Place's cars, so Maisie's old car from last year. And it's nice to see that he's sitting up towards the pointy end. He's a great driver and a great young bloke. And he was saying this weekend how much he wants to just start learning a lot more about, the intricacies, where to find those extra tenths, because that's where those blokes at the front are really pushing the boundaries. We might have noticed in the last race, or the first race today, that Steve Devjack actually set a new lap race record for the RX8s here. And, I mean, that's basically what we were qualifying on only 12 months ago. So these guys are really fine-tuning at the front to find a 10th here and a 10th there. And that's where we're getting those breakaway groups at the front. These guys really know their cars, particularly Steve Devjack. I mean, really knowledgeable. And again, a really friendly guy, gets around, has a chat to everyone.
Is Jake actually building another car of his own?
Yeah, Jake's building another car, so I think they're going to try and run through the rest of the season. Jake's also got some Toyota 86 driving coming up this year, from what I understand. Doing a little bit of that at Bathurst last year, so he's trying, and he does a lot of driving of those the challenges down at Marulan at the Pheasant Pit circuit. So we've still got about 50 seconds left on the race.
It's increasingly looking like it's going to go anywhere.
Safety car lights are out, so we might get one lap by looks of it. Looks as though this will be the final lap, so it's RX8 Cup. Anything can happen, of course. Those guys at the front are going to be trying not to leave anything on the line for today, but hopefully they all sort of keep their respect levels up, especially down through turn 1 and 2.
In this one last lap, it's anyone's guess who would actually be first, second and third.
So safety car's in, and Liddell's got the field. He's just holding them, and I think they're underway. Liddell has got a great jump. Ryan's trying to follow and stay in tight with Jake Lauer and Andrew O'Keefe in 4th. They'll still obviously need to be a bit cautious up around turn 5 as they come down to turn 2. Ryan's putting a challenge on for first place to turn 2. They're side by side through turn 2, coming around the top to turn 3. This will be close. Liddell will have the inside line and take it down towards turn 4. O'Keefe's going to challenge Jake Lauer for 3rd. And you've got Tom Shaw and Noakes battling for 5th and 6th. One-lap screamer, so hopefully these guys will all come through the back of corporate.
Back there, another situation.
And as long as looks like Liddell's got a nice 2 to 3 car lead over Ryan.
Pressure from O'Keefe. Only a short amount of time to do an awful lot.
Absolutely, and you've got Barnes moved up to 6th place, so he started rear grid, ended up in 6th so far. See if he can grab another spot or 2 before the line. And as we come down to the checkered flag, for the last time this round, we've got Marcus Liddell, 1st place, Ryan Gorton in 2nd, Jake Lauer 3rd place, and Andrew O'Keefe in 4th, with Justin Barnes picking up 5th place. That's the final race of the RX8 Cup, Oxsafe Australia RX8 Cup for round 2. We'll see you at Morgan Park in June.
have a special car, a caravan, boat or RV, but no safe space to store it at home? Let Melbourne Car Kennel securely store it for you. Conveniently located at Moorabbin Airport with easy access to major roadways, Melbourne Car Kennel offers secure indoor and outdoor storage for anything on wheels. With 4K CCTV, monitored alarms and regular security patrols, Melbourne Car Kennel cares for your wheeled assets as if they are our own. Call Melbourne Car Kennel now and talk to Brad to organise your flexible vehicle storage solution. Discounts available for viewers who mention this advert from the Victorian State Racing Series broadcast. You can find Melbourne Car Kennel on Facebook, Instagram and online at melbournecarkennel.com. Melbourne Car Kennel, proudly supporting Blendline TV and the Victorian State Racing Series.
Facebook isn't the only place that you can support Australian grassroots motorsport with Blendline TV. To see more real race cars, more live events and more of the racing you love, subscribe to the Blendline TV YouTube channel, sign up to our mailing list or bookmark and subscribe to our website at blendline.tv. Thanks for continuing to support grassroots motorsport with Blendline TV.